I can't find anybody from Purdue. I'm gonna start hitting the homeless shelters and maybe the places just where Purdue people hang out at. I don't know, street corners. But we've got that under control. But what I've got is Mr. Abbott, Kenny Abbott. During the daytime, he's the magistrate judge in Clark County, which he listens to a lot of the overflow cases, a lot of the small claims court, probably divorce cases, probably misdemeanor crimes and so forth. So I really don't know how involved he is in the court system, but he's highly respected. But he's even more respected as a musician. And what he actually is, he's a what they call a close-up musician. And he's been voted 4 times as the Louisville Best Close-Up Musician. He performs at the Indianapolis Colts football games, Indiana Pacer basketball games, and he's also performed at the Louisville Bats. Now that type of performing he does, he goes into the luxury suites, and he performs for the people in the luxury suites, and he's just very entertaining. And he's also been featured on television on Good Morning Kentuckiana, Fox in the Morning, and he's really magical. He can also appear on radio and do his tricks. So I don't know how he does that, but he's performed on WHAS radio also. But for right now, I'm going to let you guys meet Kenny Abbott. Thank you.
Y'all want to come around here? No, I'm fine. October 15th, 1923, Chicago, Illinois, the Baumgard Theater, before a packed house of over 2,000 people. A solitary spotlight followed Eric Weiss, also known as Harry Houdini, to the center of the stage. All Harry had with him that night was a single white rope and a pair of red-handled scissors. Harry proceeded to fold that rope exactly in half. Using his red-handled scissors, cut the rope into 2 equal pieces. He then took those 2 equal pieces, folded them exactly in half. Using his red-handled scissors, cut them into 4 equal pieces. He then folded those in half. Using his red-handled scissors, cut those ropes to 8 pieces. And last but not least, he took those 8 pieces, folded them in half. Using his red-handled scissors, he cut them into a bunch of pieces. Harry then proceeded to poke all of the ends into the top of his fist, with the exception of one. He poked all of the ends into the bottom of his fist, with the exception of one. As he waved his red-handled scissors over the top of his fist, he chanted a magic word his father had taught him as a child. Alakazam, Alakazam, Alakazam. And before a stunned audience of over 2,000 people, that rope became totally and completely restored. I have no idea how he did it. I get a little bit more than 4 days notice. I'll try to practice that. Anyway, delighted to be here with you guys tonight. You're not going to see me. You're not going to see the show, but glad to be here tonight. I have to apologize right up front. I was planning on performing tonight as my opener, the famous cutting the lady in half illusion, but we had a terrible accident during rehearsal this weekend. The saw slipped. I accidentally cut my assistant's entire left side off. Don't worry, she's all right now. But she's resting comfortably in lofty and Clarksville. I I tried to get her half-sister to help me again. Glad to be here with you guys tonight. Someone asked me a little bit earlier how I got involved in magic, and it was about 17 years ago. I was looking for a way to kind of express myself artistically, and really, I didn't have any training as an actor, but I thought, you know, how hard can acting be? So I saw an ad at Actors Theater. They were auditioning someone to be a cloud in one of their plays. I thought, how hard can it be to be a cloud? So I auditioned to be a clown in their play, and they told me I was overcast for the role. And so that was out. And for a while, I actually had an escape artist act, and I got out of that pretty quickly. And I had, for a little bit of time, I had considered becoming a mime, but I talked myself out of that. And it was kind of interesting. This past summer, my wife and I went to Chicago for the weekend, and we're walking down the street, and at the end of the sidewalk downtown Chicago, there's this mime doing his little mime act, and like a lot of those guys do, they had a little hat there, and if you enjoyed his act, you were supposed to put money in his hat, so I kind of mimed putting money in his hat. What was he going to say? But anyway, glad to be with you guys tonight. The honest truth is, most of you are probably from Jeffersonville or around here. About 17 years ago, my law partners and I are eating at Shin's on Spring Street, eating lunch, and right next door had opened the Greater Louisville Magic Emporium. I don't know if any of you saw it down there, but we walked in to see what they had, and I just kind of became infatuated with it. And I can still remember buying my first set. Let me see if I can find it here. There it is. Yeah. How many of you have ever seen an invisible coin before? I know that sounds like a trick question, but these are the highest quality invisible coins you can find anywhere in the area. I like to go to a party. They're so light you can actually hang them up in the air and they'll float there until you need them. The hard part is finding them in your pocket, but once you find one, you take your invisible coin, you hang it up in the air just like that. Let me move it over for you. There you go. Ma'am, you're looking at me like I'm really weird. These are the highest quality you can get anywhere in the country. I like to hang 3 of them up. Someone always say, hey, Mr. Magician, can you do a trick? And that's when I reach out and grab one of my coins and blow on it. Ma'am, can you see it there? Let me blow harder. That's where you're supposed to go, ooh. Thank you, thank you. Now that I have a invisible coin, you know, I could do a little one coin routine if I wanted to. But I always know if I need that second coin, I just reach out there and grab it and give it a shake. And it'll appear for me, giving me 2 invisible coins. My first one and my second. Thank you. That gives me 2 visible coins. I could do a little 2-coin routine for you if I wanted to, but I always know if I ever need that third coin, I just reach out there and grab it like that, give it a shake. Invisible coins. You guys are too kind, yeah. Now this is the neat thing about invisible coins. Once you're done with your trick, I can take this coin here, massage it a little bit, hang him right back up in the air where he was, leaving me the 2 I started with, my first one and my second. And the neat thing about them is when they are invisible, you can put them in your pocket. They don't take up much space. That leaves me with 2. This one here, I can take it and just massage it like that. Hang him in the air. Leave me with 1 last coin. You actually take these guys and bounce them off the ground. They'll bounce back up, throw them in the air, grab them, put them right back in your pocket. 3 invisible coins. Now, I do have 3 regular coins over here. These are actually Morgan silver dollars, almost pure silver. I'm sure you guys have heard the phrase, time flies. Have you heard that phrase? The phrase, time is money. I figured if time flies and time is money, then money must fly. So I actually trained my coins to fly. In fact, one at a time, they'll fly from here to here. It'll happen from here to here, from this hand to this hand, about that fast. Yeah. Now that was the first one to go. The second one, a little low, a little toss. Gives me 1, 2. Thank you for that outburst of silence.
We are awed.
I'll actually make this one go from here to here in slow motion. You'll actually see it go from here to here in slow motion. Watch. That's 3 coins. I'm going to take the 3 coins. The 3 coins will go in my pocket over here. Even though the coins are securely in my pocket, all I have to do is snap my fingers. I can actually pluck a coin through the material of my pants. That's because they're made of cashmere. Yeah. I like to call that my snap pluck technique. Gives me 2 through the pants, my first one, and my second one, just 2. The third one is, let's see here, where's the third one? They're right about right there. That gives me 3 coins. Now if I take these 2, if I just take these 2 coins and wave them over the third, that allows me to turn him invisible. 2 somersaults back into the pocket, leaving me 1 and 2. I'll do that again even though no one asked. Watch. A little wave. A little toss. Back into the pocket. This is the hardest one. I have a special technique to get this guy to go in the pocket. It happens like this. Watch. Thank you. Yeah. I feel like some of you felt cheated on this, so let me grab another coin through the pants here.
Yay.
Just take him and toss him right into the pants. 3 coins into the pocket. I've told you guys about what I would usually do for my opener, and I couldn't do that tonight. Would you guys like to see my new opener? Would you like to see my new opener? Oh, I would.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oh. My new opener. This is not just any opener. This opener opens bottles and cans. Now, I like to carry an opener around in my shoe because I never know when I'm going to be in the mood for a grape soda.
Oh my gosh.
Anybody want your grape soda? I got one here just for you. I did want to perform for you tonight. I didn't know how much time I was going to have. I did want to perform for you a classic of magic. I did a little rope gag earlier, but I'd like to show you guys a classic of magic. They call it a classic because for over 100 years, this has been performed by most, if not all, of the best magicians in the world. And sir, if you would check that rope out, and sir, if you'll check this one, and Jimmy, if you'll just check that, make sure they're just regular ropes, no snaps, magnets, Velcro, they don't come apart. Is that okay? All right. Now I found that if you ask people questions, they usually answer you based upon, their worldview. Maybe it's their hobbies, their interests, maybe it's their job, but they have their own perspective about things. If I were to, for instance, ask a scientist which rope was longest, he would tell me, well, it's the one where the ends are furthest away from the middle. If I were to ask a philosopher, theologian, which rope is longest, he'd say, well, it really just depends on your perspective of things. Last week I asked an attorney which rope was longer, and he said $250 is whichever one you want. But anyway, the long rope, the short rope, and sort of the medium-sized rope, is that okay? I'm going to perform the famous illusion causing all 3 ropes, the short rope, the medium-sized rope, and the long rope, to be the same length. On the count of 3, all 3 ropes will appear to be the same length. If you all would count out loud with me, please. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. All 3 ropes. The same length. Some of you are more demanding. If I just say the magic words, they'll stretch-o, stretch-o, stretch-o. That gives me 1, 2, and 3 ropes. And I'm sure you guys recognize This rope has the long rope, not to be confused with the short rope, and of course, the medium-sized rope.
Gee whiz.
Now, 3 ropes can be very confusing. Sir, would you like to use 2? Is that okay? All right, if you insist, we'll use 1. We'll just use 1. Now, the other day I was playing around with my ropes, and I realized that if I took this end here, and I squeezed it really hard, I could actually squeeze that rope so hard that the end would actually go across the hollow core of the rope and end up over here. Yeah, if I take this end, if I just squeeze it, just enough, squeeze it hard, and if I don't know if you guys can see it actually go, I can actually see it going. It gives me the ends where the middle was and the middle where the ends were. Now, somebody asked me a little bit earlier if I do magic for kids. I don't generally do kids shows, or awfully. You got to be a very talented person to do magic for kids. I was doing this the other day for some kids, and one little kid said, "Well, sure, you can make the ends go from one side to the other, but I saw a really good magician the other day. He could actually take the ends off the rope." If you take the ends off the rope, that means you just are left with one big middle. Now, you can, if you want, you can just take the ends, put them back on, just a little squeeze, and that gives you 2 ends and 1 middle. Let me explain how this works. This is really a very simple magic principle. It's called static clean. Because if I take this end and rub it on this elbow, this end on this elbow, that causes the rope to fuse together, just giving me a big middle. Now, I am a professional. I carry an extra set of ends with me here in my pocket. Here we go. Yeah, let's see. Where can I put these ends? That looks good right there. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. The other day I was doing this trick for a group of middle schoolers, and you know how they can be. This one little middle school girl said, "Sure, you can make the ends go from one side to the other. Maybe you can even take the ends off and put the ends back on, but a really good magician could actually take the middle off. That's a whole lot harder." Of course, if you're going to take the middle off, you have to be able to put the middle back on. It goes sort of like that.
Gee whiz.
Weird. Yeah. Now this, thank you. Now this is, as I said earlier, this is just an illusion. Because, you know, while I have 1 rope, now remember a little bit earlier, I actually had 2 ropes? And remember before that, I actually had 3 ropes, the long rope, not to be confused with the short rope, and the medium-sized rope. You guys might even remember a little bit earlier. I had a very long rope, a very short rope, and a very medium-sized rope. I think I've reached the end of the rope. You know, when I first got started in magic, I thought magic was just all about fooling people, and after a while I realized that's not what magic is about at all. Magic is about sharing a common experience with your audience, having that special magic connection as we all kind of experience the same thing. Something that happens that the laws of nature can't say happen. And ma'am, I don't know if you've noticed it or not, but I have felt kind of a special magic connection with you. Have you felt it, ma'am? Have you felt it? You have? And your name is?
Karen.
Karen?
Karen.
Karen? Karen, how old are you? I'm sorry. You gentlemen should never
I
ask
don't care,
how
I'm
old a lady
60.
is. How much do you weigh, Karen?
I'll tell you how old I am.
Karen, do you believe in ESP? I knew you would say that. How about intuition? Do you believe in intuition?
Yeah.
I had a feeling you would
Yeah.
say that. I kind of want to test out this connection, and I felt like we got. Before I came out here, I took the time to separate out from a deck of cards the Royal Regal face cards and the lowly number cards. If you just point toward one stack for me, please. The face cards? Great. We'll get rid of the number cards. There they go to the floor. I'm going to toss you the male face cards. If you'll catch those in one hand, please. The females in the other. Great. You dropped one. All right, which ones do you have in your right hand?
Male.
The male? And the females in your left hand? On the count of three, not 1 second before, here's what I want you to do. I want you to just discard either packet to the gentleman in front of you. Either packet that you want. You ready? 1, 2, 3. That's the males? Sir, she's discarded the males. You can have those as a special souvenir for coming here tonight. That leaves you with the female face cards. It leaves you with the 2 black queens, the queen of clubs and the queen of spades. Put those in one hand, if you would. That leaves you with the red ones, the queen of hearts, the queen of diamonds in the other. On the count of 3, not 1 second before, I want you to drop 1 packet to the floor. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Was that the black ones? That leaves you the queen of hearts, the queen of diamonds. Toss one up here in my direction, too. Which one does that leave you with there? The heart or the diamond?
Heart.
Hold the heart up for everybody to see. The queen of hearts. We narrowed down from 52 cards to the queen of hearts. They couldn't see over there. Hold it up a little higher.
Okay.
All right. You can set that on the table if you want. I want you to make a fist with your right hand now. Put it behind your back. When I count to 3, I want you to come out with any number of fingers showing, okay? Please be polite. Ready? 1, 2, and 3. That's not finger, Rez. We'll make that our first digit, okay? Put your hand behind your back. Need another number, please. 2. 1 and 2.
Trying to be nice.
1 and 2, that makes the numeral 12. And you said you ended up with the queen of hearts, is that right? I don't know if y'all noticed or not, right here on the table, the entire time, a deck of cards. Be sure I don't do anything fishy here. Queen of hearts, the number 12. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1 card reversed. That would be a real miracle if this happened to be. Sometimes this does not work. Tonight we had that special connection. Karen, don't tell anyone how we did that, okay? Our little connection there. I've got one other thing I want to do before I leave tonight, but before I do that, I need to clear up a misconception about what I do. A lot of people, especially after they see me do the coin tricks, they say, Ken, how do you make things disappear? And to be quite honest with you, I don't really make things disappear. That would be almost impossible to do. What I really do is I turn things invisible. I know that sounds like the same thing, but when you make something disappear, it's gone. It's out of here. It's a whole lot more work to do that. When you turn something invisible, it's still there. You just can't see it. Let me kind of demonstrate that for you. Ma'am, would you mind helping me? Come on up here. 3 steel ball bearings. 3 steel ball bearings. I'd just like you to check those out for me. Let me get rid of my mess here real quick while you're checking those out.
Yeah, I'm gonna, hey, somebody asked me to make Scott disappear.
They okay? That's all I need. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lois. He keeps good away.
3 steel ball bearings. They are normal ball bearings, ma'am?
Yes.
1, 2, 3. In Germany, ein, zwei, drei. Mexico, uno, dos, tres. Rome, I.
Oh my God.
Watch this. All I have to do is wave my hand, and the ball actually turns invisible. You can't see it, but it's right there on the table. Second ball. And ma'am, these are very heavy, are they not? Watch, just a little snap. Just a little wave. Turns invisible. You can't see it. It's right there on the table. I know you guys are watching really close this time. Really slowly here. Watch. All I do, wave over my hand, that ball turns totally invisible. Yep, can't see a thing. All I do is wave like that and it comes back. Thank you very much. Just a little wave. Can't see it, but it's right there on the table. Now this is the most important thing I've said all night. Never, ever handle invisible ball bearings unless you're a trained professional. Once they're invisible, if they accidentally touch, we could actually go back in time. Now I could stand to be a little bit younger, so I'm going to try this myself. There's one. There's two. This is three. Watch. Ma'am, do I look younger? You look years younger. So we'll probably have to have 8 or 9 balls for you. Believe it or not, we have actually gone back in time about 2 minutes ago, back when the steel ball bearings were still visible, still sitting on the table, and still in the little red box. Thank you very much.
We was wondering if you could get Scott to disappear.
You might make 3 of him.
Let's go chance it. Sir, do you mind if I borrow your wallet for a couple of minutes? Thank you very much.
Well, John, you're flat
Here, John. That is a really nice wallet. That is very supple. Is this imported leather?
No.
This is really nice. This must be a very expensive wallet. And it's got, oh man, look at that in there. I promise, you'll probably get this back tonight.
You probably.
Thank you for donating it. I appreciate it. That is a really nice wallet. So Scott, that is a really nice looking watch you have there. Is that real gold? Is that? I'm not going to tell you. That looks like a really nice time. Do you mind if I borrow that for that? That looks.
Just for a second.
Yeah, man, that is really nice. Ladies, I promise the odds are 1 in 3 you're going to get it back. Well, that is a beauty. Is this Swiss movement?
Yes.
This is really nice. That is really nice. And, sir, that ring. Is that solid gold?
Yeah. Yes.
That is solid gold? That is really nice. You mind if I borrow that for just a second? That is a really handsome ring. It is. And look at that. That is really nice. Man, that sweater you have there.
Give it to me.
I got you.
First time I've ever seen her blush.
I thought it might be a good idea to teach you guys something about magic tonight. We'll get back to these things a little bit later. One of the things that if you're interested in magic with cards, or if you're a gambler, if you play cards, this would be a skill that would be really good to have. It's the ability to cut to any number of cards that you want. For instance, as a magician, sometimes I have to cut exactly to 26 cards really quickly without anybody noticing me fiddling around. Or maybe you're playing poker or something and you notice like the ace of spades is like 7 or 8 cards down. Somehow you caught a glimpse of it. If you can actually cut exactly the 7 or 8 cards, the odds of you getting that card in the